All right, agenda. First thing on the agenda is discussion for adding new committee members.
Yep, that's a good one. We've had it up on the town website now for at least 3 weeks with absolutely zero responses. We're talking about potentially doing an Everbridge to reach out to more people. So just any thoughts on that? It's not posting it on the town's website. It's under the news section. So when you go on, if you look at any news, you see that we're looking for new members. So any thoughts on getting that out farther and wider would be appreciated. Anybody have any?
I mean, Everbridge in my mind seems like an emergency thing.
Yeah.
But, what about on the FBAC page? I don't know, Ron, if you've shared something. Or sorry, the BFF page on Facebook.
Oh, we can put it on there, which we don't really get much luck pulling in anyone. But I'm thinking Farmington Talks or whatever the other one is.
Unionville Talks, those.
Yeah.
I can add it to the Explore Farmington Facebook post tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Great. Yeah, why don't we do that? If we reach out, we'll try the Farmington Talks, Unionville Chats. We can get to the Lake Guard if they'll let us get it on there. Unionville Chats Responsibly or whatever it is, some other version of that. So yeah, any of the local sites that we can get them on. Is anybody on the site for the Highlands?
I am.
Okay, maybe you can get it up there. Once we get it on the other ones, you can cut and paste.
Yep.
So yeah, that's good. Why don't we try that? Let's give that a few weeks and see what happens. And
What about
nothing more, we'll keep trying others.
spring newsletter?
Now, I didn't send, oh, sorry.
Next newsletter, yeah, we can try that too.
That's coming out not till April. So I think it's gonna go out late April. So
Yeah,
all right.
hopefully we'll get it before that.
Exactly. All right.
Now, I did send you an email, CJ, and you probably get 100 every day. But I would put my hat in the ring to join this group.
Oh,
Great.
good. Perfect.
All right.
If you consider that,
All in favor, say aye.
well, I am spread pretty thin, but I am going to go off of a couple of boards this summer. So that would bring me down to 10. But this is my hometown, and this is what I do for a living.
Yep.
Is build bike trails, and I do it in 3 different states, of course. But it's crazy that I'm not helping out. So I think it's
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we do need more bodies, and frankly, we could use some female bodies also, since we have none anymore once Deanna moved. So that's kind of important. So yeah, just keep an ear out. We'll try and post it in different spots and see what kind of response. Anything else? Was there anything I missed on that?
Nope. I think that's it. I mean, if anybody else has an idea, just shoot it over to me. We'll, you know what I'll do? I'll forward the link out to everybody. All right. Feel free to take that link and send it wherever you guys want. All right.
Sounds good.
All right. Number 2, review of bicycle friendly spring report card to committee. 1 second. All right. So speaking with them, we're going to see what we can do. They're going to look at it and we'll go from there. It sounds like we may have to just do another application round. So we'll see if we can talk to them, and if they can't do anything now, I'll try to get some more information out of them about how we can move farther further to get to silver. So
Have we really changed anything since 2019?
no, it's just that trying to get into the numbers, as CJ was saying a while back, is trying to get into the numbers and seeing where they may have wronged us by underestimating something, because everything is done off that application, and I'm not sure if they send it through a computer and it automatically regenerates all these points, or someone actually looks through it. So there's possibly, they could have missed some things. So we're trying to just fix that.
And how we, Andres, actually, part of the problem is how we responded to some of the questions that we might have been too conservative in our answers. I think one of the big points there that was against us was bike commuters. And, you know, I'm pretty sure that we don't have fewer bike commuters than Simsbury or than Avon or West Hartford. It's just a matter of what we consider bike commuters and who uses the trail. I think we went with our survey to get numbers, but even if we use, you know, from Bruce Donald, if we use the counts on the trail, that significantly increases the numbers. If we use the bike to school program and all the kids who are involved in that, that significantly increases the number. So what might be good, Bruce, would it be easy to resend that out to everybody or a link to the questionnaire?
You want the whole, I can send the whole application out to you.
Yeah, why don't we resend out the whole app, and anybody who's got time, just go through it and look at the answers that we put in there and question those answers, because I really believe if we answer the questions in a little different manner, we were very strict in our thinking on how we answered them before, and I think to our own detriment.
I would think that you grossly understated a lot of those numbers.
Yeah.
In looking at the statewide numbers, and don't forget, you know, we've got a counter in Farmington, but Farmington is also bracketed too by a bunch of counters. And yeah, it doesn't seem to me to be possible that I mean, the only town in the area that you might be slightly behind is West Hartford, but I'm not even sure of that. You know, I know a bunch of commuters, bike commuters in Farmington. So, you know,
I'd have to look. I don't know how they, I don't even remember how they did the commuters. I'm not sure if it was all part of the survey or what, but that's a good idea. And Bruce, I would definitely welcome your expertise if you have any information that I'm not aware of that we can do. So,
well,
all right.
I'm also
Could I make a comment?
Yeah.
That's Rich, right?
Oh, Rich.
Yeah, this is Rich Mall. I had to join my phone, but I was looking at the report card on that one-page report card, the colored one.
Yeah.
And the key steps to silver on the bottom. You know, there's, I mean, you guys know what I'm advocating for, connecting Farmington to West Hartford, Yukon area, those two schools, East Farms and Urban Robbins. And I look at like three of those 6 key steps, and they all are kind of have to do with doing that. And I don't know if that's what they're looking at, but I'm just giving you my perspective of this report card. I agree with the numbers, but if you look at those key steps, if we were to do something there, and it seems to me there's opportunities. There's federal or state money available. There's this new apartment building that looks like it might be happening up on Quarry Road as a possible source of resources. So I just wanted to throw that out there while we're talking about it.
Also, I mean, there's the folks at Yukon. I mean, I know they've gone and blessed themselves off as bike friendly, but I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of folks that are just commuting from the condos across the street to there. You know, it's short little commutes, you know, it doesn't have to be the 20-mile commute I've got. You know, and I'm curious how the other towns, you know, if we compare our numbers against Simsbury, you know, what are their numbers versus ours, and how did they come up with their numbers? You know,
well, I mean, you know, I've been kind of staying out of this because one thing is that over the years, they've asked me to grade these things.
yeah.
So, for instance, I graded Simsbury for the LAB.
Mhm.
And I'll go back and look at it. I've got the whole package. I've got Simsbury's entire package. So I can share that around. I don't think they care. It's a public document. And we can compare and contrast. But the other thing I wanted to mention was that CJ is 100% right. Their huge focus, and I think In some cases, it's misguided, but their huge focus is on increase in mode share for bicyclists and pedestrians. In other words, they view that as the successful outcome of providing more venues, more safe, bike ped venues in the town. So it's like it's their major metric, and in some ways they fixate on it too much because there's other metrics, obviously, but it's there. But the issue, point very well taken. The other issue, the other main issue, is connectivity in the town. That's really those are the two big things. Is can you get from schools safely? Case in point, but also just point to point. Can you ride between the towns? And the answer is pretty much yes now. But can you ride between individual facilities? Not so much. So that would be something to focus on. But again, I would take a look at it again. I recused myself from grading Farmington, and because I live here. So, but they asked me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think your insight will be great on that, Bruce.
Yeah.
And Andres, to your point, we do have targeted connection roads between Yukon and West Hartford.
Yeah.
We have our one Sharrow loop, which goes into New Britain. So we do have a bike friendly connection there. You can say, look, we've got the trails connects us to Avon and Simsbury and beyond. And it does connect us to Plainville, not very far into Plainville, but it connects us to Plainville on the trails. So, a lot of our neighbors, we do have that already. I think it's just bringing that to their attention. And Bruce, if I understand correctly, the bike ped connection, certainly everything on the trail should fit that bill.
Yep.
And down at the Meadows, the sidewalk in quotes is actually called the Meadow Road Bike Trail.
Mhm.
And that's used for bikers, runners, and walkers. So we have great, crossover there.
That's technically a side path.
Yeah.
That's what that's called. And that's a legitimate bicycle facility.
All right.
I was thinking, like, we've been talking about safe routes to schools and sidewalks, and this group has been here for a while, and it's almost like we just got to make tiny little bits of progress in state roads. We've wanted to put signs on our Sharrows on Route 4 going into West Hartford, and we haven't. That is kind of one of the big connectivity things for bike commuters to get into Hartford.
Yeah.
And so, I was trying to get names of people. Those emails have gone back and forth. I got a name of somebody in DOT. So I don't know who the right person is to reach out to that person. I think I sent it to the group. So we could start making progress with our really, really long-term goals of, hey, we need more sidewalks so we can actually get safe routes to all schools.
Yep.
And then, the state roads that we have no control over as a town.
All right.
Those are good points. And for the longer term, I think we do have to start reaching out to DOT more. Frankly, the area we're most lacking, which would get us a long way on our connectivity in town, is sidewalks on Farmington Avenue. Unfortunately, our last sidewalk project was in Farmington Village rather than Farmington Avenue, but I'd love for that to be our next focus in town for sidewalks, and work with all the interested parties. I know last time they talked about sidewalks in Farmington on Farmington Avenue, the neighbors were up in arms because nobody wants to shovel a sidewalk. But there are ways around that. And I really think if we revisit that, we can find a common ground that we can get that, because safe routes to school is key. That's huge on that. And there's also money available for safe routes to school. It's my understanding with all these new federal dollars that will be coming to town, they're looking for a lot of green solutions, outdoor solutions, things like that. So it's possible sidewalks fit into that whole program. So we can use some of that money for sidewalks also. So hopefully that's a positive.
For the little bit, of Route 4 by the high school going eastbound, with the new high school construction potentially happening, closing off the walking routes from the Highlands, that sidewalk is definitely needed. And that could be a way into, hey, at least we get that little section closed, under the guise of the high school, and then a larger project would come along and, with the stuff happening by, the auto parts place over there, we could, I'm sure, they'll put a sidewalk in there and, little by little by little, it'll come together.
Yeah,
So
that's a
going-
good thought with the
So
taking
going
advantage
back-
of the high school project. Go ahead, Ron.
Going back to Rich's vision for, I guess essentially we're connecting the two town. Bruce, like where are we with, I remember was there something that was being talked about going up to the highway kind of, and then staying on Route 4 as you head up toward 84?
Along the jug handle there.
Oh, Bruce Sear or Bruce Donald?
Sear.
Oh, yeah. There was a plan. Bill Warner, one of his last things before he was leaving, he always had that grandiose plan of somehow connecting Farmington Center with like a Yukon, and that included a sidewalk running up along Hillstead, coming up to the jug handle, crossing over and tying in up there. That way you could technically walk from there down to the Farmington Center, and try to revitalize the Farmington Center. So
is that,
Could I say
That's-
something real quick? One idea that I have in my brain from riding this all the time
Go ahead.
is you get to the jug handle, you could do like maybe 100-foot path and connect to Wolf Pit Road. And then Wolf Pit Road would connect you to the two schools, and you go down Middle Road to get to Yukon through the back door. And it takes you off Route 4. And anybody that's commuting to West Hartford or Hartford, that's more preferable ride due to traffic than Route 4. So just an idea
Yeah,
I had.
Yeah, I
don't know
agree.
if
I thought
anybody's
we
ever
had
looked at that.
sharrowed. I thought we had already sharrowed or signed or both the road up by the seminary and the Yukon, the back road.
yeah, that's done. That's got a bicycle share. I don't know if that's Cheryl's or I think that's just the bicycle signs.
So what we might need though is some signage off of Route 4 near all the medical buildings directing people that way.
Yeah, more like the Wayfinder type signs you're talking about, Neil, that let
Yeah.
people know there is a bike path somewhere, safe
Yeah.
route.
Yeah, bike route this way.
Yeah, that's a good. Bruce, we don't have anything that says bike route this way, do we? Anywhere in town?
No, all they have is those typical green signs with the bicycle, and
Yeah.
it's that's a standard state sign. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
and like
Okay.
I said, that big path, that's going to take a lot of money. That's not a cheap one because cutting through Hillstead is not going to be easy. You got some grade differences, and so we're going to need a lot of grants for that one. So
And there again, Bruce and Rich, bringing that up. It might be something that these federal dollars coming out will be good for, because they're, right now, with what they've already passed, we're supposed to have 2.5 million coming within the next 60 days, is what I heard, which is mostly for COVID use. But depending who you ask, when you look in the current, it said we've got another 2.5 million. But what I saw was a certain amount going to Hartford County on a per capita basis to all the towns, which would have actually been 4.8 million. So that's a pretty wide range between 2.5 and 4.8 on top of this 2.5. So that's yet to be seen. We'll see how, when that comes in, what the restrictions are on using it. but most of the things they're talking about using it, something like that trail could fit in there also. You know, it's outdoor uses. It's making people, you know, in open spaces.
Well, you know, there's other pots of money too that are being used more and more. The state LOTSIP program, federal CMAQ. I'm seeing a lot of money that traditionally wasn't used for trails, starting to be used for trails.
Huh.
So, and I've got a list of that stuff I can get to you folks. You know, so there's actually a surprising amount of money out there. But if things pass at a federal level, the TA money, which traditionally was much of what paid for the Canal Heritage Trail, currently that's been doubled. So that's about 9 million to the state. It'd be about almost 20. So this year is going to be very interesting to see how much more money actually comes out of the woodwork for alternative transportation. And we're keeping close tabs on it, obviously.
Well, that's good. That's why we're going to have to get you right on this committee quickly, so we get all that information right in front of us, Bruce.
Exactly.
So one more thing, if I could just add,
Yeah.
back in January, I got an email from Bike Walk Connecticut, and it had to do with the Connecticut Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Board looking for input on limited access highways. So I sent an email to Sandra Fry, and mentioning 508 and my concerns with it and ideas on how to improve it. And if I understood this action alert email, was they're looking for ideas, and the only response back was thank you for your input. But I did throw that out there, and I don't remember, but I thought I had forwarded it to some of the advisory committee. I can't remember now because it's been there a couple of months. But
Yeah, I
one of the-
had too, exactly what you wrote, Rich, and she wrote back, that makes a lot of sense. So,
okay.
Well, okay, so that's another one that I sit on. I think I don't know if you're all aware, but I'm actually the legislatively appointed chairman of the Connecticut Greenways Council. There's 2 legislatively appointed bike ped boards in the state. That's the other one. So the Bike Ped Advisory Board is the policy board that talks primarily to DOT. The one that I chair is the Greenways Council, which talks primarily to DEEP, but also controls all the rec trails money grants that come out. So we actually vet all that money. So if you get rec trails money, I have voted on it. But that's essentially how it works. So, and Sandy Fry is the chair of Connecticut Bike Ped Advisory Board. And I go to all those meetings. So if you want me to bring it up, just let me know.
Yeah, I'll forward you the email that I sent to her. How's that sound?
That's great. Yep.
Okay.
Bruce is on the committee. He keeps selling it.
got it.
All right. We all set with that one?
I think so. What's next?
4 is the newsletter crosswalk thing I sent out. I know, Ron, you were asking for do it like a question and answer.
No, I liked the way you had it.
Yeah, well, the only reason I'm bringing that up is that we don't have a lot of room. You don't get like a full page, so you get like those little boxes. So I tried to put some stuff together, throw some pictures in there, and hopefully it kind of jazzed it up. And like I said, that's my first run. Anybody has anything wants to add to it, please feel free. I tried to keep it as simple as possible. I don't want to get too technical. So when you look at this, I threw like a sample of some pictures of our typical crosswalk, and then I just put your do's and your don'ts on here for both pedestrians and drivers. Because as Ron said, let's make sure everybody, both both of the users know what to do when they come to a crosswalk. So
All right.
feel free to go through this. I think it's due next Friday. So if anyone has any comments, just get it back to me and we can edit this up a little bit and clean it up. And I think next one we're gonna do in the road. I think we talked about doing like bicycles in the road and pedestrians in the road, how to actually use the road. So, all right,
Okay.
that's number 3. So if you have any questions, get back to me. Number 4 is the big one, trail wayfinder signs. All right, Rose there? Where is she? She was
I'm
there.
here.
Oh, there you are. So her and I have been going back and forth talking about different options. So to go over let me get out of that for now. What we're looking at doing is putting some trail wayfinder signs. And I know we've been talking about that for a while, but we do have some pots of money that are coming up. So we're thinking, let's get this on the boards. Let's get it done. And hopefully we can get something going with this. So a couple of locations that Rose and I were talking about where one of them would be at the Collinsville Road parking lot. That's at the Route 4 parking lot if you're headed out towards Burlington. Depot Place at that intersection there where the trail crosses 177. We'll probably do 2, one on each side because of the offset intersection. A third one would be a future one. But the one I showed you guys, that plan for midpoint development over by the Big Bird Bridge, where they're looking to lower that whole trail, do something there because that'll be a great way for people to get off the trail and go to Unionville, Town Hall, things like that. And next one would be at Red Oak Hill Road. All right, we talked about putting one there, so we would be pointing towards Farmington Center. So and then Tungus Mead Park, people have the option to go that route. And then Rose, after that, you and I talked, I started scratching my head. I said, maybe even Brickyard. I thought maybe if we have more money, we can throw in at Brickyard for the parking lot for the travelers, and that would be simple. It would be a sign for Avon and Simsbury North, Unionville and shops and stuff south, something like that, So that's kind of what we were coming up with for placement. Now, with regards to design, now Ron, I know you had a couple of designs, but what we thought is looking at this, it's got to be something simple. It's got to be something that we could replace very easily, after they get worn out. If they get knocked down by a car, it's something that could be easily replaceable. So that's kind of where we were going with it.
Mine weren't designs for that sign. Mine was just like let's do this when I was doing the presentations and stuff.
Yeah. And again, those are the same thing. It's just pointing towards bicycle shops and things like that, Unionville Center. So this is maybe a little drastic, but the main thing is, and we want them to all look alike. So with it going in the middle of Unionville, it's got to go through our Unionville Architectural Design and Review Committee. So they're going to have a lot of say in it. So keeping in theme with the black.
I'm just going to interrupt for a second. If you need to talk to Unionville Historic District, leave me out. I'm not talking to any more historic district.
No, it's not the historic district. This is architectural review. This is the architects, Tim Eagles, LeBoutier. I forgot the whole list in front of me, but those are, Jack Kemper, thank you. And all of them, Mike Sanford is on there as well. So I was thinking of is, and I kind of talking to Rose, I kind of pushed her my way. So if I pushed her too hard, let's see. But I was coming up with something like this. And let me see what your guys' thoughts are. I think it's simple. It's got some
I don't
color.
think we can see it that well, Bruce. Can
No?
you?
It's not
Make it
working.
bigger.
Let's see. I'll try this.
It
Make it a
doesn't
big-
look like you opened it. It's just highlighted the.
Yeah, I'll make it a. Oh,
Yeah,
you know
I
what?
think you have
I
to
know
yeah,
what I gotta
just
do. A new
tap
share.
on
That's
it.
why I got a new share. New
Close.
share. This one. Yeah. How about that?
Yep, there you go.
Much
All
better.
right. I do my new share. So I was looking at something like this.
That's kind of like Simsbury, right?
I'm not sure, but we've got lots of options in here. These are pretty simple panels. Really, this is a street sign. you know, this is a simple design we could have made. The only thing these don't have, which I like, is we just take off, we just take the reflectiveness off there. I think because that would look too much like a street sign. But if we get the same panel without the reflective, do something like this, this thing could be different for each trail. Like, you know, maybe for the Farmington River Trail, we throw in the River Trail logo up in here, and then do Farmington River Trail. For the Canal Heritage Trail, we put the Canal Heritage Trail logo there with the Canal Heritage Trail, something like that in here. And I don't know, and I kind of was bouncing it off you guys for your first impressions of what do you think, you know?
My first impression is that it's bigger and more substantial than I thought. It seems pretty fancy, but when you make the points of the sign being modular and that you can change it, you know, that makes it pretty easy, especially when you're talking from a business point of view, as businesses come and go. And also if you wanted to get, you know, just like recurring support, you know, hey, you know, you pay for a sign, you know, you'll have it for 2 years. And, you know, maybe we get, that works.
Yeah, we haven't gone that route yet. I know we talked about that. I think at this time we, you know, maybe we first get the main ones up here, and like if this was in the vet, if this was at the 177 crossing at Depot, it could say shops, it could say restaurants, you know, CVS. We were joking. You could say first aid, you know, for CVS to get some Band-Aids if your kids took a header.
Clinic
you know?
over there too.
Yep.
But I like it if it had a, you know, a mile marker or something like that, you know, 0.4 miles or something like that.
That's an option. That's definitely, I mean, that's not a bad idea. So we could add mile markers to it, or add distances to it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, I think right now it was just mainly to get the locations.
Yeah.
If we decide in the future, hey, you know what, George's Pizza wants one. So you know what, I mean, the problem is at some point you're going to run out of room, you know, so you're going to
Worry about that.
Yeah, we'll worry about that later,
Problems
but
you'd like to have.
exactly. So
Just build it taller.
I don't know, Ron, are you still there?
Yeah, I like it.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
I was nervous. I was really nervous. I said,
When
Ron's
really
not
Ron
gonna
is
like it.
quiet, you take that as a positive.
I
Right.
will.
I just
Alright.
want to get people over the bridge. Lots of, you know, outdoor eating. There's just so much to
Alright.
enjoy.
Yeah.
Well, let me do this. I can, probably the next step is Rose and I were talking about maybe meeting with some of the Unionville Architectural Review committees offline, see what they think. Maybe they can tweak it a little bit, something that they would like, you know, that they think would go through the committee a little easier. Then I think what we'll do is we'll pool ourselves together. If anybody on the committee wants to attend, we'll go to a architectural review committee meeting, present this to them. If they get on board, they approve it, we'll get some prices. And like I said, there is some monies out there, so we can probably get these things, if we get these things ordered before June and the budget's closed, that we can get these things installed, you know, like in July, hopefully.
First, what's our target audience? Because if it's residents, we all know it's in Unionville.
No, I think it's for everybody. It's for users. The problem that a lot of people I hear is you got someone who comes from out of town.
Yeah.
They go to the Collinsville parking lot and they go on the trail. All they know is that this trail is nice, but they're afraid to go off because they don't know where anything
Okay.
is.
Yeah.
They don't even know what town they're in sometimes when they cross over. So at Unionville, it's going to shoot you down to the center for all that stuff. Down at Oak, we'll have one for Farmington Center. You know, that way you can, maybe we could say some restaurants and stuff, and Tunster Speed Park that way as well. So that way you kind of know where you are, you know, and where other things are off. So you're actually trying to get people to actually use this for more than just a recreational trail, but it could become a commuter tourist economic thing. So
Hey, Bruce, could I share my screen quickly?
yeah, I think I have to give you permission. Let me see. Spotlight. Make the co-host. All right, you got that.
There we go.
And can you share?
Yes.
I've never-
Okay.
There you go.
So I bring this up because the only thing that what you're showing is missing is the wayfinding aspect of it.
Mhm.
So this wouldn't say blocks, obviously. It would say, feet or, miles or
Oh,
whatever.
exactly. Yeah.
But it seems to me that that makes the most sense. And then what you do is you see these parking ones. You actually do have things
That's a
like
good idea.
police, parking, and walk-in medical.
Mhm.
Oh,
Uh,
really? Hmm.
and I've seen bike shops too.
Yeah, we were thinking about that, but the only one we have is the one up in Farmington.
Right.
our-
I mean, that's and it's way over near West Hartford, but still, I mean,
Okay.
but so that'd be my only suggestions is
Yeah.
just is make it a little more tourist friendly.
I looked at something like this. I said, I thought about the single pole with some of these panels. It was an option. I said, all right. And that's kind of, I'm just, like I said, I'm looking for something simple, very, very
Yeah.
simple and very, very easy to fix and change and add things to. So
Well, you bring up simple. Of course, I have no idea what that cost. It could have
Exactly.
been it could have been a fortune, right?
yeah,
I mean,
it could have. And then my thing is like, especially in the depot, all I need is a car to hit it. He takes it out.
Right.
And next thing you know, we're back to, all right, now like, where am I going to buy these things? How am I going to grab them?
Yep.
So
Our insurance doesn't pay for that.
yeah, but the problem is by that time, the company's gone. How are we going to, how are we going to get this thing?
Refabricate 'em.
Exactly.
Actually, Bruce, the one that you had up there with a slight adjustment, the top of that looks like the Unionville Bridge. That'd be perfect down there.
What was that one? Hit,
you want to do? Let me get
put
it
yours
again.
up again, Bruce. You know what I'll do? Let me do this.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, what do we got?
Ooh.
Oh, wow. Let me take a picture.
Oh,
Smile, everybody. All right.
I hadn't thought of that, but it does.
See that? But that's,
Interesting.
back to your point, Bruce, and to Andrews is also, one of the reasons we started talking about this was because people ride through other towns and they're going somewhere. They're going to get breakfast. They're going to, stop at a shop, and it just doesn't happen in Farmington because people don't know what's off the trail. If we, got back to a bike sharing by the mini golf or something like that, different things can be pointed out to people. So.
The same with
Alright.
bike parking and bicycle racks at, like George's and Stop and Shop and things like that, instead of just chaining it to a fence.
And something else to consider too, when you were talking, Andres, about who the target audience would be. And so the target audience obviously are the trail users, but you'd be surprised. I've been in a number of webinars this week, and the amount of new people moving into the state of Connecticut, it's really quite amazing. And so I actually presented to a number of realtors earlier this week, and they're telling me that there are so many people from out of state moving to Farmington. They can't even keep, there's no inventory of homes. That's how many people are moving in. So it is newcomers, people from out of state, people new to the community that really don't know which way to go. And then the other part of it is really, as an economic development driver, just allowing people to understand. Some of them might be on the trails and not realize how easy or how close they might be to, places of business. So I spoke today to Phil Chabot, who's the president of the Farmington Chamber, and they have some funding available. And I kind of ran it by him, and he said it would be definitely something that perhaps the chamber might want to partner and fund some of it. So, just looking for funders. Why? Am I saying something funny?
I don't know, CJ.
Yes and no. And I might have mentioned this to you a long while ago when Phil in the chamber said, "Oh, we'd love to pay for those signs." And then all
Well,
of a
no,
sudden,
that's
disappeared.
what made me think of it, CJ.
Yeah.
You gave me the idea. So
Oh,
that's why I wanted to
Okay.
circle back with
Yes,
him.
no, I appreciate that. Rose, that's
Yeah,
great.
I don't
because-
know yeah, well,
I
you
think
guys
you-
may not have realized that the chamber was a volunteer chamber and they really were not able to sustain themselves. So they have shut down and they have now become part of the Central Chamber of Commerce. There is no longer a Farmington Chamber. So, but they do have a nice little nest egg. So that's what made me call Phil, knowing that they're no longer in existence. I wanted to know, what are you going to do with your nest egg? And he said it's definitely something for them to consider.
That's great.
They
I
have the money
appreciate-
and they have to spend it.
I appreciate your circling back. That was our money, right, Ron?
Yes.
We are ready. So it's coming back. But one thing, Rose, you've pointed out a number of times, and I think you do a great job when new people are looking at the town, particularly the younger people and the millennials. They all want things like access to trails, bike routes. So this plays right into what new people coming to the area are looking for.
And we're getting so many people moving into the state that one of my colleagues happens to be a consultant, and he actually did a whole PowerPoint presentation on what towns should be doing to welcome these new people, because we don't want them to have fled from New York and not feel welcome and then go back once the pandemic is over. So there's actually strategies in place for towns, and it's exactly things, like what we're doing tonight, thinking of ways to help that new person or even someone from a neighboring community know where to go and what to do. And it helps everyone.
Yeah, that's great.
So with the signs, what's our next step so we can get this done?
Rose and I think said, we'll take it from here. What we'll do is we're going to meet with the architectural review committee, gauge their thought. I mean, if they could look at this and say, totally inappropriate, there's nothing about what we thought. And if that's the case, we'll meet with them and we'll see what they want to do, and then we'll get it back to you guys. I'll probably we don't need to meet on meetings. I'll just dump them in emails over to you, just let you guys know where we stand with this. But once we get that approved through them, then we can get zoning to approve it, and then we can get these things ordered. So
Thing 2 months?
we'll see. We got to see. Let me see how quick we can get architectural review on board with this. If they're on board rather quickly, I'm hoping we can get this thing. I mean, 2 months would be ideal. You know what I mean? That would be great. But with everyone's meeting schedules, things may get pushed around a little bit. But I'd like to get these things ordered before the end of June, when some of the money from the budget year goes away. So
And then for the locations of the signs, does architecture need to know exactly where it's going to be and have the signs kind of mocked up in Photoshop, or?
no, well,
Okay.
are you offering? Is that an offer? Is that what that was?
I could attempt it.
Because I was thinking of just taking something like this to them. Once we get a sign guy, either have the sign guy do it, or I was thinking maybe we could try to do something ourselves with this. I don't have a lot of Photoshop abilities to make it look like this. I can make it look black and white and just draw it, draw it that way, but I can't do Photoshopping,
Yeah, I was just thinking if they need to know, like the one in Unionville, make sure it's not encroaching on sidewalk space and it's going to be appropriate, et cetera.
Oh, yeah, I'd give them a general location. I'm not going to be specific in terms of where exactly, but it's going to be behind the sidewalk where it's not going to be a problem, things like that. So, all right.
Right.
If anybody thinks of anything in the meantime, please just shoot me an email. All right.
Okay.
Oh, that's running right down. Number 5 is the complete streets. I sent that policy out. If anybody has any questions, I know it's rather long, but where is it here? Crosswalk, complete streets. Here we go. Oh, here was the other. I don't want to go back, but here was another. Oh, come on. This was another option I had, something like this. you know, a little more Gothic-y looking, you know, or Victorian looking. So, it can be all the different kinds of stuff like these. All right, complete streets. Here's come on, here we go. Here's the complete street policy. I know I sent it out kind of late with the meeting, but feel free to go through this, everybody. Mark DeVoe, our former town planner, helped out a lot with this, putting stuff together. So we cleaned it up. So feel free to go through it. If everyone's on board, we can get this thing approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission. That would be our next move on this.
I have a question. Is this going to be an ordinance?
It's going to be not an ordinance. It's just, as far as we know, it's just going to be a policy. So
Okay.
it's a complete streets policy, and it gets approved by, approved or adopted by the Planning and Zoning Commission. Is there a different route that we should be following, you think?
Well, obviously an ordinance has more teeth,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
So the issue, as I see these being done, and I was on the Hartford's committee, their Complete Streets committee. And by the way, you think this is long, you should see theirs.
Okay.
But they also did not do an ordinance. It's just essentially, what has ended up, the advocacy wags are calling a serving suggestion.
Mhm.
In other words, it's not, it's not that scrutinized, unfortunately. Now, don't forget, that's a big city, right? There's different processes. But I bring that up because there's always the worry that you spend all this time on this document, and it may or may not be followed.
Mhm.
So that's really, I guess that's
Yeah,
the devil's advocate, right? I mean,
Whereas if it's an ordinance, I guess the question is, if it's an ordinance and we don't follow it, if something happens and we need to modify, something, there's a reason we can't do it, then are we being held in violation of our ordinance? And, so.
I mean, there's reasons. There's reasons not to do an ordinance because
Right.
yes, obviously, one more set of rules, right? So I don't even pretend to be a politician. I mean, this is really more, CJ and the gang.
Because I do pretend to be a politician.
No, you actually are one. Yeah, you don't have any choice now. You are one.
Okay.
Bruce, let me ask you, would it affect our application if it was a policy versus an ordinance?
Big time.
Oh, wow. Because I didn't think it offered that. I thought it just said if you have a complete streets policy. All right. So you think, all right. So that's going to help our silver then.
They would notice that immediately.
So,
Okay.
so to make that an ordinance, I mean, is it a matter of just doing a find and replace of policy to ordinance and then we're good to go? I mean, the document itself doesn't have any teeth. Even as an ordinance, it says you shall consider, you shall do this, you shall do that. And everybody can say, I did. I've checked in the boxes. So if there's no harm in us making it an ordinance.
Well,
I mean,
it's a longer process. It would be a longer process to make it an ordinance. I think we have to have more public meetings versus policy. And Bruce, correct me if I'm speaking out of turn here, but I think we have to go through a lot more time involved. So what we could do on the application now, as we're going in for silver, is we put a policy in place and we're considering making this policy an ordinance.
and that seems to be a pretty good way to approach it. And, we could also, when it's time to, really push to get it an ordinance, you might have, real life examples of, hey, this didn't happen, that didn't work because it was a policy, not an ordinance. If it was an ordinance, we would have done this, this, and this. And that might give us a little bit more incentive as a town to make it an ordinance.
I think the ordinance is what's getting us up to gold, so.
Yeah.
Well, anything's possible.
I'd say it looks good.
Right. Go
Yeah.
through it. Yeah, just go through it, everybody. You have any I'll give it a week or two. I know it's kind of a lot of stuff there, but go through it. If you have any questions or comments, please shoot something back to me and we can go from there. You know what, if we want, we can maybe look at either just that or just we're wrapping this up at the next meeting. So, all right.
I mean, is it, Bruce, can we just say, yep, looks good to go, you guys make it an ordinance, and then if there's feedback, you just revise it for 2022?
Yeah, I mean, we
Yeah.
could do that, but I mean, I definitely, if anyone hasn't read, I'd like to give people a time to at least go through it and look at it,
Yeah.
Make sure we didn't screw anything up. Misinterpret something and someone, wait a minute, that's not right.
The
So,
only thing I changed is people having helmets on the bikes, but
Yeah, I noticed that too.
you know what, I didn't even see, that's the thing you guys pick up on.
Pictures.
you suffer the wrath of my
Oh,
own.
skateboards, there we go, yeah.
Why is he not wearing a helmet? We're on the
Oh, there you go.
Right, there you go.
All right.
Wait, Ron, is that you?
Never.
caught.
helmet photos. That good point. I can replace that with some helmet photos. All
Yeah.
right.
Trading the other kid's helmet too. Drives me nuts.
All right. Next after that is any other business for the committee? If anyone has anything. I do have one small thing, but if you guys want to go, if anybody has anything else.
So I've been working with the folks at Winding Trails to improve a kind of a beginner kids group. I know it's private, it's not a town thing, but I think many members here, folks here are members.
Mhm.
And as part of it, I read through the International Mountain Bike Association's book on sustainable trail building. The big part of the sustainability is that nature won't ruin it. If you've got the trail designed and built right where it spills the water off instead of getting erosion, the trails are built to last, and there's a lot less maintenance needed annually, which everybody on the town can appreciate. We've got the path from the bicycle path down to the river that goes towards the boathouse,
Mhm.
where it's pretty eroded. Since it's town, I don't know the right way to go about it, but I'd be happy to work on a reroute and close that section up, basically replant it or whatever, to stop the erosion. And, I was thinking to sustain, the folks that care about the river, the watershed people, they'd probably appreciate not getting a whole bunch of silt runoff into the river. And it might be good to start saying, hey, here's town land, let's put in some more trails.
All right.
And you've got people that want to build, so let's just do it under our control rather than rogue.
Have you walked it yet and marked an area or anything?
Not this year.
All right.
The snow's come down.
One of either one, what we can do is one of two things. If you want to go out and mark it, or
Yep.
give me a buzz and we can meet up and walk it, mark it, get something marked, and then we'll go from there. Let's see what extent needs to be done. Maybe it's something we could do with town forces if it's easy enough,
Yeah.
or do we need to have someone, if it's too big, then we may have to do a bid for some construction. So
I'm hoping to keep it, gentle on the side slope.
Okay.
Basically just get us down from the trail to the river. It wouldn't be built for truck access. It'd just be, basically a 4-foot wide walking path.
Mhm.
Keep the grade low enough so, somebody could ride up it on a bicycle.
And Andres, you had drawn a map of what you thought, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I thought I saw you.
It's just literally, I just drew in some zigzags. I didn't exactly
Yeah.
plan it out, but that's the general idea.
Yeah, I think if you and Bruce walked it, that'd probably be a good idea. It would give you an idea of what the topography actually is like there. Are there some huge trees all clustered where you want to go?
Yeah.
That type of thing would be good. When that was first created, Bruce, was that something we created, or did people just start going there?
we took the 70s or those 80 exercise routes people used to do. They'd go to a station, do some exercises.
Yeah,
It was kind of an old trail to there, and we took it from there and we actually built it I think we did that with town forces. We went from there all the way up to the the river bridge, because once that opened up, we wanted to give people an access down there. So it was
Yeah.
kind of a walk it in the field and maintain what was there. I think we went through wetlands on a couple of small things. So let's see what Andres wants to do, and let's see if he's got a better alternate, and then we'll go from there. But we got to keep it mountain bike, yes, but we got to keep it easy too, because a lot of kids from the high school use that as well. They walk through there and they access
Yeah.
the crew program goes down there to access the boats and stuff. So it is pretty well used.
I
Yeah.
figured worst case, you basically mark it out. Step 1, step 2 is rake it out, and then, if you need to just, dig with a mattock in the hillside just to kind of knock it down so it's pitched correctly.
Right.
And then do that. And then the last step, might be just with a vibrating compactor, just run over it just to pack it down a bit. And I don't think we'd even need to put stone dust down.
All right, we'll see.
And you're right, Andres. That steep part of that trail right now is dangerous, even walking it, because in the fall, not only have you had the erosion from the summer, but it fills in with leaves, and you could easily twist an ankle or go over your handlebars on it.
All right,
All right, I'll
sounds like a plan.
take a stab at that, and I'll take a look at it, Bruce, and get some ideas, and then
We'll get together.
awesome.
All right. Also, we got to get back on schedule with the meetings. So of course we're meeting, today's the March 18th. I'm not sure if we want to go back to the every other month. I've got some dates around here. So let me know where they want to go.
I wouldn't mind doing an April, since we've got May as in bike month. If we can fit
Okay.
another one in April and do April and May going into the summer would probably be good.
All right. So I've got April. I did some tentative days of the April 15th. It's the second Thursday again, April 15th, May 13th. And then we could do July 8th, skip over to September 9th, and then do November 18th. So if everyone's good with that every other month after that, I'll send out some dates and we go from there.
And
All right.
now that none of us have to run out to file our taxes on April 15th. We can-
No, not anymore.
CJ, did Connecticut push theirs back too, or just federal?
Just federal so far, but
I would be surprised if Connecticut didn't follow suit, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think that's how it worked out last year. First the feds did it, then within the week, everybody else.
Okay.
followed
Yeah.
suit.
In that case, yes.
Does John still work for the IRS? Or is he retired now?
I don't know.
Give him a
so
call.
Bruce, I do have one other item that I wanted to bring up, and it's fencing. I've talked about it in the past a little bit. Last summer we lost a lot of fencing, especially along the river road section. And as I look at it, I've started to think we have excessive fencing, throughout the trail system in town. And I was on the trail this morning before the rain, and I noticed a lot of it has been replaced already down by the mini golf place.
Okay. Yeah.
Which looks nice. And I'm, it's better than having 3 rails laying on the side. But before we do any more, I'd actually like to have some sort of plan about where the fencing is and when stuff breaks, what we're going to replace, because it is expensive. It's split rail. It's going to keep breaking. Trees are going to keep coming down. It's going to keep rotting out. And when you get to, talking about maintenance costs and all that, there's places where obviously we need it, but I think I'd like to see us come up with a plan. And then as things break, we either decide to fix, repair, replace, or tear it down.
I know the highway's been working on that, and they work closely with us as well. And the problem with that, Neil, is that a lot of the fence where we have it is there for a reason. Either one, it's insurance, or 2, we've had problems with neighbors, and they put up some, and there's been some, they've been upset about the trail, so we've had to have fence there. So a lot of that fencing, there is a rhyme or reason, or there's not a rhyme or reason, but there is a reason why it's there. It's for these reasons. But I know we're always looking to try to do exactly what you said. When we first put it in, we did it in with grants, and we tried to get it in as many places as we could. And I think on other sections, when we did the canal trail south of Farmington Avenue, we did some adjustments in there. We added some, took some off in certain areas. So, but I'll talk with highway and maybe something we could meet with them on it more often and kind of revise
And-
as we
and
go.
you-
So.
And you know,
Because
I can-
if there is
Go
a rhyme or reason, I'd like to know what it is, because you're going along and it's
Mhm.
flat grade on the side and there's a fence there. And then up a couple hundred yards, it's still flat grade and there's no fence there. It's the same topography. So
Well, certain
um,
things are, people were complaining about people cutting
it's all
through their
wood. I'm talking
backyards.
areas with wood. So
Oh, all right,
yeah.
okay. I thought you were talking about the River Road section there. I
Yeah.
know we had a lot of problems back there, so, all right.
yeah, and I get the privacy fences and things like that. I also think, just not to belabor it tonight, but down by Depot Place, right? We've got I don't know if the Board of Ed is still in the old railroad building there,
Yeah,
but we've got a 3-wood split rail fence right along a guardrail. Seems kind of excessive, and maybe there's a different type of fence if we needed a fence there.
yeah, that was me, unfortunately.
Okay.
I did that because the reason is the back of that rail, I just envisioned some little kid with their parents going off and getting that back into that rail, back into their knee or their leg and gouging themselves up pretty good. So I wanted to keep a buffer between those
Yeah.
two.
But maybe there's a lower buffer that's not
All right.
going to rot out as much, right?
Okay, yeah,
So just something to think about.
will do. I'll
So-
put that down.
I'd request, Neil, if you get time, just get a map of the trails, put red marks where you think some of the fencing is excessive. And then we can, Bruce can meet with Russ or whoever else is working on the trails. And we can say, is there a reason for it or is there not? Because to your point, if we're replacing fencing where we don't need to, and we can put that money towards the place where we do need to replace them, all the better.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
And I would tell you that area towns have taken out, in some cases, miles of fencing and not replaced it. A lot of the original DOT designs were designed to funnel the evildoers that were going to be on the trail, and that just hasn't come to pass. Obviously, there are spots where you have to have it, right?
Yeah.
I wrote a white paper on that a number of years ago. If you want me to send it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, send
It
it.
has all the specifications in it about, grade and, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and CJ,
Sounds good.
Bruce, if you send that out, I'll be happy to get on my bike if I have to,
Good.
and spend some time riding, with a camera even, and take some pictures and mark a map.
That'd be great.
So I got a couple things that popped in my head. First is for the wayfinder signs. Can we have them also a little thing that says, 3 miles to the next town, to Plainville, to Avon, to Unionville, something like that. So I think
All right.
that's kind of neat.
This was the next time.
Second one on that is we talked about porta potties and
That's on my list. That's on the old business section. Yes, we'll go over that.
yeah. And I think the third is I rode on the trail this weekend and man, there's so much dog poop on there. It's like people forget it disappears when it goes in the snow.
Oh, that reminds me. Thank you. I've got a dog poop flyer that we put together because we had a lot of problems. Where was that? It was on the trail too. Some people are putting it in the green bags and they're throwing it onto the side.
Yeah.
So thank you for reminding me. I'm gonna put that little dog poop flyer in our in the newsletter. So
Yeah. Otherwise it ends up in the river. So
yep, exactly. And that's why we were doing it as part of our stormwater. So, all right.
are we still doing like a spring cleanup?
Yes.
Yes.
The only thing that's changed this year, I believe, is there's not going to be a weigh-in. So everybody doesn't congregate in one place. But is it the April 20 what? 20?
I don't have my calendar on. Give me a second here. So did they actually post it yet?
I thought so. I think it's the 24th.
Let's see.
That's a Saturday.
Yeah.
Yep, that makes sense. Yeah, we've noticed there's always a lot of garbage at Suburban Park, and my wife's picked up like multiple garbage bags. And I'm wondering, is it just the trash can and bears hitting it?
No, that's out of towners. When the COVID hit, we've been there was a lot of people coming from out of town using a lot of these areas.
Like, wait a minute, a month later, it's just as bad. And I'm like, that's got to be a bear to get that bad.
Let's see here, pitch-in, Farmington, 23rd Annual Townwide Cleanup Day, April 24th. So,
Bruce, are they doing something with the greenways too? Other groups?
I think they just posted something, the Farmington Valley Trails Council just posted something.
Okay.
I'd have to go on their website and look. I think they were doing, I saw something come up, so.
I'm sorry, I was,
It's all right.
I was reading emails. So what, the Farmington Valley Trails Council, did cancel their annual multi-town cleanup.
Oh, I did, all right.
They just decided it was too much of a hassle this year. We'll certainly do it next year, but,
I mean, we could kind of piggy it back together with Farmington, say, hey, you know, get your supplies and, you know, instead of hitting the road, hit the trail. You know, you don't need to have donuts for it. So, okay.
Good.
Uh,
There's something else that popped in my head when you guys are talking, but
No
that's
problem.
all I got at the moment.
Porta potties, we talked about that. Talked
we-
to Russ.
You want to go over to porta potties? Andrews brought it up. We really didn't talk about porta potties.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, that's on my list, right? That's what I'm
Yep.
saying, that we've got the porta potties, talked to Russ. They're still in the budget, so we'll be looking to order those things, get those things out for spring. All right.
You have the locations? for-
We had talked about Collinsville Road. Let me write
Yep.
these down as I'm saying them. Collinsville parking lot was one. Coppermine was another, and I think we were looking at Brickyard as
yeah.
the third.
I think he was talking about 2 at Collinsville.
Exactly. We talked about two because of the volume on the weekend. So we were just going back and forth about whether handicap, do we need the handicap ones? And they are a little more money. So we're trying to figure out what we can do with that. So,
Okay.
and there was a fountain proposed as well, but that has been put off because we're just with the whole COVID thing, figured we'd put it off and wait, some kind of COVID-free fountain or something. We said, let's wait on that now. So.
The garbage tax.
The
what was
nice
that?
thing is we have water access. It's
Mhm.
just what we do with it.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that will be a use. It's just when we go about that.
All right, Plainville bike study, I keep that on there. Haven't heard much. I think that Plainville's in the middle of a design at this point, final design or something.
yeah, so Plainville 1, which is Town Line Road to Norton Park, is at 45% design as of last week. It's going to include a boardwalk to get onto the original towpath of the canal. So they're actually going to build most of it on the original towpath,
Oh, cool.
which is a very cool design. It's going to be really pretty neat. And they're also in negotiations for a piece of land. I got to think about this. Just west of where the trail would cross over Town Line Road for quite a large new parking lot. So that's new information as well. And so they're moving along. I talked to them just the other day.
As far as I heard, they still don't have any construction money, right?
No, they actually do have some leftover Let's Go Connecticut money.
Okay.
They probably won't do the whole thing, but I believe they've got 3.8 million left or something like that.
Wow. Okay. That's good.
And again, there's money coming, from the federal government
Yep.
because we've got whatever's coming now, which that should be an acceptable use.
Mhm.
And then there's probably more after that too, I'm guessing.
All right.
I suspect, we've got federal lobbyists, they're looking at federal stimulus money for transportation.
Yeah.
So, and that would include line items for bike ped. So there's gonna be money.
Perfect. And then the last thing on the agenda is our everyday connectivity to the trail. So if anyone has any ideas or options, and I think we talked about that earlier. ideas and stuff like that. So we'll have to get together and put together some kind of a plan possibly, and then just get the monies.
Great. Andres, did you come up with anything else while we were talking?
Yeah, one little thing, to get more brownie points with, the league. My son goes to preschool at Noah Wallace. And on Friday, April 20th, I think that's school vacation week. They've got, an optional week. They've got a bike rodeo going on there. So I don't know if
They've had those
aware
in
of
there,
that,
yeah.
and, yeah, so we are doing stuff like that in the schools, even though, it's not a town-wide thing. So just something, wanted to let you guys know.
Good.
Perfect.
I think that's all.
Bruce Donald, does that, we don't have the curriculum in all the schools, but would that be a accepted school
Oh.
program?
Oh, yeah, no, they like that stuff. I mean, obviously, some of these programs, South Windsor's famous for it. Simsbury's got programs in some of their grade schools.
All of them.
But that takes a lot of work. I mean, basically what that boils down to is training the trainers concept, which is getting all of the PE instructors, actual League of American Bicyclists,
Certified.
folks to come in and do the training. And Bike Walk Connecticut used to do a lot of that, but they're kind of moribund right now. So I don't think we're going to see a lot out of them until they get back on their feet.
So
Ron, did
Tony
you-
and Laura
All right.
Rosado have, last year they had a program where they invited Farmington too. They trained a whole bunch of PE teachers from mostly Simsbury, but other towns too. So I think that can be arranged again if we ever move in that direction. We have enough LCIs, you know, Bruce, right in this
Oh yeah,
area. Yeah.
oh yeah. There's plenty of people that can do the training. It's just a question of, getting it, figured out with the school board, Board of Education,
Yeah.
and then of course, honestly, you've got to have, the PE staff buy into it.
We had them in there, Ron. Remember you were talking with them?
Oh, yeah,
They were
we
all
did.
on board, and then all of a sudden COVID just kind of
Yeah.
put a whole halt to it,
Yeah.
Because I think we were
So
looking to,
hopefully at some point we can pick that up again.
And there's the Outride program that I don't know if you guys all know Amanda Delzadelli. She's pretty active with that, and I believe that's geared towards junior high and specifically low income, where, if your school meets some threshold, they cover all of it. So I know that's a big push this year for that. And then I've also heard that Winding Trails has a whole slew of bicycles that I don't know how we got it or where, but that would be probably either Jimena or with Michon. They've done bike programs, and I've asked them, the details are always hazy. So I don't quite know what's going on there.
There's also a program called, I think it's Connecticut Youth Cycling.
Yeah, CCAP.
Oh, yeah,
and-
see, that's
and-
fantastic.
They're primarily high school, but
They actually start younger than that.
Yeah, they start at age 9. They asked me to be a
Yeah.
coach, and unfortunately, I don't have the bandwidth to be a coach this year, at least until Eli is old enough to be on a team. But they start officially at age 9. They've got teams set up in, a lot of them are down, by area. So Farmington does
Yeah.
have one. Up in Granby, there's one, all over, and they've got, races, springtime is mountain bike. They've got the Frozen 4 series going on in the industrial park Sunday mornings. So if you guys are bored, the racing's, I think training starts at 7:30 and wraps up by about noon on the industrial park. They're doing it at Trump this year on Sunday mornings in March. And the CCAP kids are out there putting their heart into it.
Yeah, they do a lot on Tuesday nights at Rensselaer Field. They also they have what they call a breakaway benefit ride.
Yep.
That's actually going to be at Winding Trails this year on May 1st. So if people are interested in signing up for that, there's going to be, I believe there's going to be mountain biking, there's going to be road routes and all of that. So
they set it up as a fundraiser for CCAP.
yeah, it's a great event.
I think they got 20, 45, 60-mile routes, and then all the mountain biking you can do at Winding Trails.
Yeah.
If you guys ever get events like these, just shoot me an email. We can always get them put on a town website. We can get them sent out in all different ways. At least we get the word out. You know what I mean? So
Sure.
that'd be great.
And if you attend those events and you have people from Farmington who are there, encourage them to join any of our groups here, whether it's BFF or the Bicycle Advisory Committee. When we locals who are interested, let's draw them in.
Would the town ever support our local Farmington team? I don't know how that would work, but
I don't know. I don't know if the town's ever done anything like that. It's a good question.
yeah.
So one thing that might help on our application this year, since they moved that breakaway event to Farmington, used to be over in Manchester. The good news is this year I won't get lost because I'll know the route. But Connecticut, local employer, is one of the big sponsors of that breakaway event. I don't know if that helps with our application, but
I tell everyone, you guys are on top of this. You guys are in the know. Anything you guys do, hear of something, get it over to us. We'll put it in a folder, and we could always take those and throw those right into future applications and things that we need to show what things we've had around here. So
yeah.
Do we have a public folder we can just dump stuff into, or Google or Microsoft Share Drive? We can...
not right now, but I guess I could set up a shared drive,
Yeah, I struggle keeping up with the emails sometimes. It's hard to always find everything we're looking for.
Okay.
I had something and I lost it.
Okay, we're gonna meet
Jefferson.
next month, so save it for
Yeah. Okay. So
Jefferson.
Neil, has Connecticut gone for the bicycle friendly work business?
no, we had talked about it and then COVID hit. We had talked about it over time, but the one thing that would have really cemented it was if I could have gotten access to the rail trail from our parking lot. I think I could have tipped the scales if we had that.
Yeah. I mean, is that still possible?
It seems unlikely at this point. At one point in time, there was supposed to be a access point, but with I think it's the parking lot in Plainville now. That was sort of a trade-off, is my understanding. Is that what you know, Bruce?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, that was all part of the sale of that property when Tilcon owned it, part of the agreement. And like I said, by the time this got built, the trail and everything was already in the design plan. So,
And that's to
the
property.
The one way you could do it very easily is easily design wise and construction wise is if we could get the owner of EBM Pabs to agree to allow a path through his woods into his parking lot, and you could connect to it that way.
Is he amenable to it?
I didn't think he was.
Okay.
That may, if Connecticut can maybe knock on their door and maybe start that conversation, because I know we had a lot of problems with the trail when we went through. They were really concerned. But again, things have changed now that the trail's in. I see a lot of Trump and a lot of EBM people out there on the trail. So that may be something they're willing to see,
And what I've heard, is that companies like EBM and Trump, when they're recruiting talent, and this was brought up before, this bike trail is a huge thing, and the connectivity and getting people that they won't need cars. They can get to businesses, restaurants, homes.
Yeah.
apartments.
Yeah.
That's a huge plus for them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
Okay, well, very good. I think we got a lot done here. And we've got a lot to get back to come April 15th.
All right. Okay.
Good.
All right.
Everybody.
Sounds good.
meeting.
Night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you, everybody.